A few weeks ago, you may have noticed a few changes to raid battles. The HP bar is smaller, dodging feels clunkier, and raid bosses feel a bit easier. All of these are part of some really major changes to the raid system as a whole. Not only has the system been changed with new fixes, behavior changes, and bugs, but the raid stats for moves now work a bit differently, meaning there are some big shifts for raid attackers, with some fallen legends and some new top picks. We're going over all of this, so let's get into it. Welcome back, everyone. Now I want to preface this video by noting that we have no official word from Niantic on any of these changes as of recording, so there is still a chance that these changes could be tweaked or potentially even reverted. But a few weeks back, people started to notice how raids felt different. Like I mentioned, the HP bar of the boss was smaller, dodging felt different, and more. But after a lot of research, some players have figured out that the system for raiding has been completely overhauled. A quick shout out to these posts on Reddit for this new information. But what all does this mean? Well, to start off, let's talk about raids themselves. The smaller HP bars you see are not too important, more of a visual change or a bug. Some people were thinking that bosses had less HP, but this doesn't seem to be the case. Instead though, raids are just easier, due to some factors that we'll get into. But in terms of raid changes, raid bosses now have much more consistent behavior. Previously, a raid boss would have a 50-50 chance of using its charged move when it had enough energy, which means it could go longer periods of time without using its charged move, and that could also lead them to building up energy to spam their charged moves multiple times. I'm sure you've seen it with raid bosses like Latios using Dragon Claw several times in a row. Now though, a boss will always use their charged move when they get enough energy for it, making things a bit more predictable, which is good. Also though, when you or a raid boss is hit by an attack, you generate a bit of energy based on how much damage is dealt, which is why when you get hit by a strong attack but survive, you'll get a lot of extra energy. While this is still true for us, the raid boss now gets less energy when it's damaged, which again, is pretty good because it means they won't be using their charged moves as often. But the biggest change is what's really shifting the rankings, and that's that the rating system is now operating on half-second intervals, kinda like PvP, but not exactly the same. In PvP, every move has stats tailored to that area of the game, but for fast moves, they're measured by turns, with quick one-turn fast moves like Lick and Dragon Breath, and slower 4-turn charged moves like Gust and Volt Switch. Every turn is a half second, where in raids, there's a lot more variety. A fast move didn't have to be half, 1, 1.5, or any other multiple number of seconds. Take Thunderfang for example, which has a 1.2 second duration, or Blast Burn, which has a 3.3 second duration. But now, all of the durations for raiding moves are being rounded to the nearest half second. So Thunderfang gets a buff, being slightly quicker as it's rounded down to 1 second, while Blast Burn is slightly nerfed, being rounded up to a slower 3.5 seconds. Not only that though, but within these durations would be the damage windows, or where the moves actually hit the opponent and dealt damage. But now, these windows are no more. Instead, the damage is going to be dealt at the very end of the attack's duration. Now this isn't as large, but it does still make some damage output slower. For example, if you look at a move like Stone Edge, which will now be 2.5 seconds long, before the move would damage the opponent at 0.7 seconds, but had some time after where you'd be waiting for the animation to end. Now though, the damage will hit right at 2.5 seconds, meaning that you'll have some instances where you may faint before the damage is registered, which is an unfortunate side effect. But with these changes, a lot of Pokemon will be seeing certain unexpected buffs and nerfs. Let's get into some notable ones. Sucker Punch getting a buff means that Yveltal will be far more effective as a dark attacker, actually becoming the best non-shadow, non-mega dark attacker, even surpassing Tyranitar and Hydreigon. Yveltal is winning with this and the GBL update. For Steel types, Metal Claw being quicker means Dialga and its origin form will actually surpass Meteor Mash Metagross, the non-shadow version at least, which is still pretty crazy. For Electric, every fast move is getting buffed, plus moves like Wild Charge. For Zekrom, it's still better, but other Shadow Electric types now surpass it, with Shadow Magnezone having the most significant jump at the new #1 spot. Now Fire is a weird one because Fire Fang is being nerfed while Fire Spin is being buffed, which is unfortunate for Reshiram, but other fire types like Shadow Moltres and Chandelure now seemingly surpass it. That said, Reshiram is still the best non-shadow fire type, plus it did get a small buff to Fusion Flare. And the last big mix-up comes with Grass, where Leaf Blade suffers a small nerf that hurts Kartana slightly, but Vine Whip, Leafage, Power Whip, Grass Knot, and Frenzy Plant all get buffs, and that actually puts several grass types over Kartana, which is really crazy. Now Kartana does still have the top non-mega DPS, so it has the fastest speed of damage, but now the top performer is Zarude. And there are more changes besides these, like dodging and phantom damage being fixed, but I'd say we covered most of the major changes. As to why all of this happened, we really don't know, seeing that as of recording, Niantic hasn't said anything. However, it is possible that this may have to do with Dynamax coming to Go, but we don't really know much about that either. But if anything significant happens and potentially invalidates this video, we'll be sure to let you know. But what are your thoughts on these changes to the raid system? While I have been wanting some updates to moves for raids, doing it this way has me a bit conflicted. I do love some of the changes that made dodging and making bosses easier, but having certain investments like Kartana and Reshiram nerfed is rather unfortunate. Still, even with the nerfed Pokemon, the overall changes to raids will make them perform better than they ever did previously, so this is still a plus. Let me know your thoughts though in the comments below. And if you like this video and want to see more like it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming videos. Until next time though, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.